I came home from 6 months teaching English in South Korea to find strangers living in my house. Not squatters. Not renters I'd forgotten about. Actual homeowners. With a deed. With closing documents. With keys that worked in my locks. They'd bought my house. From my realtor. For $450,000. Except I'd never authorized the sale. Never signed documents. Never received a penny. My realtor, Diane Crawford, had forged my signature on every document, impersonated me at the closing, and deposited the entire sale amount into a bank account I didn't know existed. She'd stolen my house, my inheritance, my entire life savings in the form of property. And she thought she'd gotten away with it because I was halfway around the world, unreachable, with no idea what was happening back home. What happened next would send Diane to federal prison for 12 years and teach her that some people you shouldn't steal from are the ones who trusted you most. But let me start 6 months earlier, before I knew that the person I'd hired to protect my interests would become the person who destroyed my life. My name is Natalie Harper, and I'm 34 years old. I'm an elementary school teacher in Portland, Oregon. 3rd grade. I've been teaching for 11 years and I love it. I bought my house 5 years ago. A small craftsman bungalow in northeast Portland, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a yard with apple trees. I paid $280,000 for it. In Portland's insane housing market, it was now worth about $450,000. It was my home, my sanctuary, the first thing I'd ever owned outright. My mother got sick in January. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. She lived alone in Seattle, 2.5 hours north. I started driving up every weekend to help her. Cook meals. Take her to appointments. Sit with her during chemo. In March, she got worse. I took a leave of absence from teaching. Moved in with her full-time. The doctors said she had maybe 3 months. My house sat empty. I worried about it constantly. Pipes freezing. Break-ins. Yard maintenance. All the things that happen when a home isn't occupied. That's when I called Diane Crawford. Diane was a luxury real estate agent in Portland. I'd met her at a school fundraiser 2 years earlier. She'd donated an expensive auction item, chatted with all the teachers, handed out business cards. If you ever need anything with your property, she'd said, call me. I take care of my clients like family. When I needed help with my empty house, I remembered Diane. She seemed professional, successful, trustworthy. I called her in late March. Diane, I'm dealing with a family emergency in Seattle. My house is going to be empty for a few months. Can you help me? Check on it occasionally? Handle any maintenance issues? Of course, honey. That's what I'm here for. Don't you worry about a thing. We met at a coffee shop near my house. I gave her a spare key. I signed a limited power of attorney that allowed her to authorize emergency repairs if needed. Nothing more than $5,000 without my explicit approval. This is just for emergencies, Diane explained. Burst pipe, broken furnace, that kind of thing. I'll call you before I authorize anything, but this way I can move quickly if needed. It seemed reasonable, responsible, even. I paid her a retainer of $2,000 to cover her time. She promised to check on the house weekly, send me photos, handle any issues. Focus on your mom, she said, squeezing my hand. I've got your house covered. I trusted her. That was my mistake. My mother died in early April. Pneumonia, a complication from her weakened immune system. I stayed in Seattle for another week handling her estate, planning her funeral, sorting through 40 years of her belongings. I was exhausted, grieving, overwhelmed. When a teaching opportunity came up in South Korea, a 6-month contract starting in May, teaching English at an international school, I almost said no. But my principal encouraged me. Natalie, you need a change of scenery. You've been through hell. This could be good for you. I called Diane. I might be going to South Korea for 6 months. Can you keep checking on my house? Absolutely. Don't give it another thought. I'll treat it like my own. I accepted the position. I gave Diane my emergency contact information, my mother's lawyer's details, my friend Sarah's number as a backup. I arranged for automatic bill payments. I had my mail forwarded to Sarah's address. What if something major happens? I asked Diane. Then I'll call you immediately. But honey, nothing's going to happen. Your house is solid. I've got this. I flew to Seoul in early May. Started teaching. Started healing. Started rebuilding my life after losing my mother. I thought my house was safe. I thought Diane was watching over it. I had no idea she was planning to steal it. Later, the FBI would piece together what Diane did during those 6 months. In late May, Diane created a fake email address using my name. She used it to communicate with a title company, saying she wanted to sell her house quickly due to a family emergency and relocation. In June, she forged documents, a new power of attorney, one that gave her full authority to sell my property. Fake identification in my name. Forged signatures on disclosure forms. She was meticulous. She'd been in real estate for 25 years. She knew every step of the closing process. She knew exactly which documents needed my signature, and she forged every single one. In July, she listed my house for sale. Not through her own agency, that would have been too obvious. Through a colleague at a different firm, someone she occasionally worked with on referrals. My client is overseas. Urgent sale needed, motivated seller, she told the listing agent. She provided all the forged documents showing her authority to act on my behalf. The house sold in 3 days. Cash offer, $450,000. The buyers were a young couple relocating to Portland for work. They'd been looking for months. They jumped at the price. In August, the closing happened. Diane showed up with a professional makeup job and a wig that matched my driver's license photo. She wore sunglasses and claimed she had an eye infection. The title company barely looked at her. She signed my name on 43 documents, accepted the cashier's check, deposited it into a bank account she'd opened using my stolen identity. By September, the money was moving. Small transfers, cash withdrawals, payments to casinos in Nevada. Diane was covering gambling debts I didn't know she had. And I was in Seoul, teaching third graders, completely oblivious. The first hint something was wrong came in late October. I was finishing my teaching contract, planning to return home in early November. I texted Sarah, my friend who'd been checking my mail. Hey, coming home next week. Can't wait to see everyone. Is there anything important in my mail? Sarah replied, not much. Some junk mail. Oh, and a letter from someone named Henderson? Said they're your new neighbors? My heart stopped. New neighbors? What do you mean new neighbors? I don't know. The letter said they bought the house next to yours and wanted to introduce themselves. But they got your address confused or something. The letter was addressed to your house number. I called Sarah immediately. Read me that letter. Exactly.
She did.
And my blood turned cold. Dear Natalie, we recently purchased the home at 2847 Northeast Alameda Street and wanted to introduce ourselves as your new neighbors. That was my address. Not next door. My house. Sarah, that's my address. Someone bought my house.
What?
That's impossible. You didn't sell. I need you to go to my house.
Right now.
Tell me what you see. Sarah drove to my house. She FaceTimed me from the street.
Different cars in the driveway.
Different curtains in the windows. A new mailbox with a different name. She rang the doorbell. A young woman answered, confused. Can I help you? I'm so sorry to bother you, Sarah said carefully. But my friend owns this house. There might be some kind of mistake. The woman looked puzzled. We bought this house 3 months ago. We have the deed. We went through escrow, did the inspection, everything. Can I see the deed? The woman, suspicious now, showed Sarah the document on her phone. It showed the sale of 2847 Northeast Alameda Street from Natalie Harper to James and Melissa Henderson. Closing date, August 15th. 3 months ago. While I was in Seoul, Sarah's voice shook. Natalie didn't authorize this sale. She's been out of the country. Someone stole her house. The woman went pale. That's not possible. We worked with a real estate agent. Everything was legitimate. We have a mortgage. We've been making payments. Who was the agent? I don't remember her name. We worked with her colleague mainly, but the colleague mentioned she was representing the seller. Diane something. My vision tunneled. Diane Crawford. I boarded a plane the next day. Canceled the last week of my teaching contract. Flew 14 hours from Seoul to Seattle to Portland. Sarah picked me up at the airport. I looked terrible. I felt worse. What do? I asked her. Someone is living in my house. How is this possible? You need a lawyer. Like, yesterday. We went straight from the airport to a real estate attorney's office. I explained everything. Showed him the limited power of attorney I'd signed, which explicitly said, emergency repairs only, nothing over $5,000 without written approval. The lawyer looked grim. This is real estate fraud. Identity theft.
Forgery.
Possibly mail fraud if she intercepted documents. You need to file a police report immediately and contact the FBI. The FBI? Real estate fraud over a certain amount is a federal crime. Wire fraud, too, if she used electronic communications. This isn't just local police jurisdiction. We went to the police station. Filed a report. They looked at my documents, looked at the deed showing the house had been sold, looked at me. Ma'am, this is complicated. You need the FBI's white-collar crime division. They gave me a number. I called it from the police station parking lot. An FBI agent named Torres answered. I explained everything in a rush, my voice breaking. Ms. Harper, I'm going to need you to come to our office with every document you have. This is absolutely a federal case. We take real estate fraud very seriously. The next week was a blur of interviews, document reviews, and growing rage. Agent Torres and his team were thorough. They pulled every record. The fake email address Diane had created. The forged power of attorney. The title company documents. The bank account she'd opened in my name. She's done this before, Agent Torres told me. We've had 3 other complaints about Diane Crawford in the past year. Smaller amounts, different methods, but the same MO. She targets clients who are distracted or out of state. Why didn't you arrest her? Not enough evidence in those cases. The victims couldn't prove the signatures weren't theirs. One victim had actually given her broad power of attorney. But your case is different. You have a very limited POA, you were out of the country, and the paper trail is clear. They tracked the money. Diane had spent nearly $300,000 in 3 months. Casinos mostly. She had a serious gambling problem. The rest was sitting in accounts she thought were hidden. Can I get my house back? I asked. That's going to be complicated. The buyers are innocent parties. They have a legal deed. They have a mortgage. You might have to sue the title company and their insurance for compensation, or we might be able to void the sale if we can prove fraud in the transaction. The Hendersons, the couple living in my house, were devastated. They'd saved for years for that down payment. They'd done everything right. And now their dream home might be taken from them because their seller was a con artist. I don't want to hurt them, I told Agent Torres. They're victims too. I know. But right now, focus on getting Diane Crawford arrested. Let the lawyers figure out the property issue. The FBI moved fast. Within 2 weeks, they had enough evidence to arrest Diane.
But they wanted to do it right.
Make a statement. Send a message to other realtors who might think they could get away with this. Agent Torres called me. Diane is hosting an open house this Sunday. Big luxury property in the West Hills. She's been promoting it all over social media. We're going to arrest her there, in front of her clients and colleagues. Why there? Because we want everyone in the real estate community to see what happens when you commit fraud. This isn't just about your case anymore. This is about 3 other victims and probably more who haven't come forward yet. Sunday came. I wasn't there. Agent Torres thought it was better if I wasn't, but Sarah went. She recorded it on her phone. The video showed Diane in her element. Expensive suit, professional makeup, charming smile. Giving a tour of $1 million home to a dozen prospective buyers. The kitchen was just renovated, top-of-the-line appliances, and you'll notice the marble countertops are. The front door opened. 4 FBI agents walked in. Diane Crawford? She froze. Her face went from professional charm to pure terror in seconds.
FBI.
You're under arrest for wire fraud, mail fraud, identity theft, and real estate fraud. She tried to run. Actually tried to run through her own open house. The agents caught her before she made it to the back door. They handcuffed her in the kitchen, in front of 20 witnesses. Read her rights while prospective buyers filmed on their phones. You have the right to remain silent. Diane was crying. Makeup running. Expensive suit wrinkled. Reputation destroyed. The other agent addressed the crowd. If anyone here has worked with MS Crawford and suspects fraud, please contact the FBI Portland field office. We believe there may be additional victims. The video went viral. Local news picked it up. Luxury realtor arrested at open house for stealing client's home. Sarah sent me the link. I watched it 3 times. It should have felt like victory. It felt like exhaustion. Diane's lawyer tried everything. Claimed she had permission. Claimed I'd authorized the sale verbally. Claimed the limited power of attorney was broader than it appeared. But the evidence was overwhelming. The forged signatures. The fake email address. The bank account opened with my stolen identity. The title company video showing someone who looked like me, but wasn't me. The FBI had also found her accomplice, a notary who'd falsely notarized documents for a fee. He flipped immediately, testified against Diane in exchange for a reduced sentence. In March, 9 months after she'd stolen my house, Diane's trial began. I had to testify. Had to sit across from her in a courtroom and explain how she'd destroyed my life. Ms. Harper, did you authorize Diane Crawford to sell your house?
No.
Did you sign any documents related to the sale?
No.
I was in South Korea. I didn't even know my house was being sold until after it was already done. Did you receive any of the proceeds from the sale? Not a penny. Diane's lawyer tried to paint me as a forgetful client who'd given broader permissions than I remembered. But my limited power of attorney was clear. Emergency repairs only. Nothing about selling property. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Diane's sentencing hearing was in May, a year after I'd left for South Korea. The judge was not sympathetic. Ms. Crawford, you were in a position of trust. Your client came to you during a vulnerable time, dealing with her mother's terminal illness, and you exploited that vulnerability for your own gain. You didn't just steal money. You stole a home, a place of security and stability. You've caused immeasurable harm. He sentenced her to 12 years in federal prison. Full restitution of $450,000 plus damages. Loss of her real estate license permanently. 3 years supervised release after prison. 12 years. Diane sobbed. Her lawyer asked for leniency. The judge denied it. Perhaps 12 years will give you time to reflect on the seriousness of your crimes. After the sentencing, Agent Torres pulled me aside. 3 more victims came forward after Diane's arrest. You helped us catch someone who'd been doing this for years. She's done. I nodded, numb. What about my house? I asked quietly. The title company's insurance is going to compensate the Hendersons. They'll be made whole. The sale is being voided. You're getting your house back. It'll take a few months, but you'll get it back. Getting my house back took 6 months of legal proceedings. The Hendersons were understanding. Their title insurance covered their losses. They found another house they loved. We stayed in touch. They sent me a card when they moved, saying they hoped I could heal in my home. I moved back in November, 18 months after I'd left for my mother's funeral. The house looked different. The Hendersons had repainted, changed some fixtures, updated the bathroom. But it was still mine. Still home. I walked through it slowly, touching walls, standing in doorways, trying to reconnect with a space that had been stolen from me. Sarah came over that first night. Brought wine and takeout. How does it feel? She asked. Strange. Violated. But also like I won? I don't know. It's complicated. You did win. Diane is in prison. You got your house back. You survived. The restitution from Diane was paid in installments. She had to sell her own house, her car, liquidate her retirement accounts. Even with all that, she'll be paying me back for years. I don't care about the money anymore. I have my house. I have my life back. But something's changed. I don't trust easily now. I research anyone I hire. I keep copies of everything. I check my credit report monthly. I verify. The naivety I had before. The assumption that professionals are trustworthy because they have licenses and credentials, that's gone. Diane taught me that credentials mean nothing if the person behind them is desperate. I went back to teaching in January, 2 years after my mother's death. My principal welcomed me back. My students made cards saying, "Welcome home, Miss Harper." My classroom felt like sanctuary, but I'd changed. I was harder now, less trusting, more vigilant. One of my fellow teachers asked me once, "Do you regret trusting Diane?" I regret trusting her too much. I should have had more safeguards. Should have had someone else checking on the house. Should have limited her access more. But you are grieving. That's when predators strike. When you're vulnerable. When you're distracted. Diane saw my mother's death and saw opportunity. That's who she was. The story made local news for months. Teacher's home stolen while she grieved mother. Realtor imprisoned for real estate fraud. FBI warns against broad powers of attorney. I got contacted by other fraud victims. They wanted to know how I'd caught Diane, how I'd gotten justice, how I'd survived. I helped where I could. Connected people with Agent Torres. Shared my lawyer's contact information. Told my story so others would know they weren't alone. One woman called me crying. Her financial advisor had stolen her retirement savings. She felt stupid, ashamed, responsible. "It's not your fault," I told her. "These people are professionals at manipulation. They target trust. That's their weapon. How did you get through it?" I focused on facts. Gathered evidence. Let the system work. And I let myself be angry. Anger is useful. It keeps you moving forward. Diane tried to write me from prison. 3 letters. I never opened them.
Sarah asked why.
Aren't you curious what she has to say?
No.
There's nothing she can say that matters. Sorry doesn't give me back the year of my life I spent in legal proceedings. Sorry doesn't erase the violation of coming home to strangers in my house. But closure. I got closure when the judge sentenced her to 12 years. That's all the closure I need. I threw the letters away unopened. 2 years after getting my house back, I was in my garden planting tomatoes when a car pulled up. A woman got out. Mid-50s, professional clothing, nervous expression. Natalie Harper? Yes. My name is Andrea. I'm a realtor here in Portland. I wanted to thank you. Thank me. For coming forward. For testifying. Diane Crawford had been stealing from clients for years. Small amounts. Ways that were hard to prove. After your case, the real estate board implemented new rules. Tighter oversight on powers of attorney. Better verification processes. You changed the industry. I stood there holding my gardening trowel, surprised. I didn't do it to change anything. I just wanted justice. I know, but you got it. And because you did, a lot of other people are safer now. So, thank you. She left. I went back to my tomatoes, thinking about unintended consequences. I just wanted my house back. I'd ended up protecting other people I'd never meet. I started dating again. Carefully. Slowly. His name was Thomas. He was a librarian. Quiet, thoughtful, patient with my trust issues. On our 5th date, he asked me about the house. Sarah mentioned you had a difficult situation with your previous realtor? I told him the whole story. Watched his face carefully for judgment or disbelief. Instead, he looked sad. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's horrible. It's over now. Is it? Or do you still carry it?
I thought about that.
I carry it. But not like before. Now it's just information.
Data.
About who I am now versus who I was. And who are you now? Someone who got her house back. Someone who sent a con artist to prison. Someone who survived. He smiled. I like who you are now. I refinanced my house last month. Different lender. Different title company. Different process. When the title company asked for identification, I provided everything. Passport, driver's license, 2 utility bills, 3 forms of ID. The closer looked surprised. This is way more than we need. I don't care. I need you to be absolutely certain I am who I say I am. Because someone once pretended to be me and stole this house. It's not happening again. She understood then. Processed everything carefully. Called me to verify details 3 times. You're all set, Miss Harper. And I'm sorry that happened to you. Just do your job correctly. That's all I ask. Sometimes I think about Diane in prison. Does she think about me? Does she regret it? Does she understand what she destroyed? Probably not. People like Diane don't think that way. They see opportunities, not people. They see money, not lives. She saw my empty house and my dead mother and my teaching contract in Korea, and she saw a chance to make $450,000 to cover her gambling debts. She didn't see a woman grieving her mother, a teacher building a life, a homeowner who'd saved for years to buy that property. I was just a mark, a target, an opportunity. That's the part that still stings. Last month, I got a letter from Agent Torres. Natalie, wanted to update you. Diane Crawford's accomplice, the notary, got released early for good behavior. He's required to contact victims as part of his restorative justice program. He asked if he could meet with you. You're under no obligation, but I wanted to pass along the request. I stared at that letter for 2 days. Sarah thought I shouldn't do it. Why give him the satisfaction? But I was curious. What does an accomplice to fraud have to say? I agreed to meet him. FBI office. Agent Torres present. His name was Kevin. He was 38, looked 50. Prison had aged him. We sat across from each other in a conference room. Agent Torres in the corner, monitoring. Kevin spoke first. Ms. Harper, I know sorry isn't enough. I know I participated in destroying your life for a fee. $500. That's what Diane paid me to notarize fake documents. $500 to help her steal your house. I said nothing. Let him continue. I've spent 2 years thinking about what I did. Who I hurt. You and 3 other people lost their homes or money because I falsely notarized documents. I lost my notary license, my freedom, my family. My wife divorced me. My kids won't talk to me. I destroyed my life for $500. Why did you do it? I asked.
Greed.
Stupidity. I thought I wouldn't get caught. Diane said it was just paperwork, that her client had authorized it verbally. I chose to believe her because $500 was easy money. Do you know what you cost me?
Yes.
Agent Torres made sure I knew. Your house, your sense of security, a year of legal proceedings, thousands in attorney fees. And the violation, coming home to find strangers living in your house. I can't imagine. Then don't try to.
Just don't do it again.
That's all I want from you. He nodded, tears in his eyes. I won't. I swear. I left that meeting feeling nothing. No catharsis. No closure. Just tired. I'm 36 now.
Still teaching.
Still living in my house. Still healing. The apple trees in my backyard bloomed this spring. I made apple pie for the first time in 3 years. Invited Sarah over. We ate it on the porch, watching the sunset. Are you happy? She asked. I thought about it. I'm okay. Better than okay. I'm building something new. A life after fraud. A life after violation. It's not the life I had before, but it's mine. Diane doesn't win, Sarah said firmly.
No.
She doesn't. She's in prison. I'm eating apple pie in my house. I won. But winning doesn't feel like I thought it would. It doesn't feel triumphant or satisfying. It feels quiet, steady, like surviving. I got my house back. I got justice. Diane is paying for what she did. And I'm here. Still here. Still standing. Still building a life she tried to steal. That's not revenge. That's just refusing to let a criminal destroy you. Sometimes the best revenge is just reclaiming what was always yours. Your home, your safety, your right to trust that the people you hire to protect your interests won't exploit them instead. Diane Crawford thought she could steal my house while I grieved my mother. She thought I was vulnerable enough, distracted enough, far away enough that I'd never find out. She was wrong. I was vulnerable, but I wasn't weak. I was distracted, but I wasn't stupid. I was far away, but I came back. And when I came back, I brought the FBI with me. 3 years later, I'm still in my house. And Diane has 9 years left in prison. She gambled on the wrong person. And she lost everything. If you've been the victim of real estate fraud, know this. Document everything. Trust your instincts. Verify every transaction. And if something feels wrong, investigate immediately. Real estate fraud happens more than people think. Predators target the vulnerable, the distracted, the grieving. They count on you being too overwhelmed to notice. Don't give them that opportunity. Protect yourself. Limit powers of attorney. Verify every signature. Check your property records regularly. And if it happens to you, fight back.
Get the FBI involved.
Get a good lawyer. Gather evidence. You're not alone. And you can get justice.